In this video, I'm going to talk about bum hunting in poker and why I think that almost everyone, if you put him in the right circumstances, is a bum hunter. If you're new to this channel, my name is Andreas and I'm a poker player and content creator. And I talk about a lot of topics in the poker industry on this channel. I also have interviews in podcast format that it's streamed live, and you can watch them on some of my other videos. If you enjoy these kind of poker videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to not miss a video here in the future. So what is bum hunting in poker? It's nothing else than somebody sitting down at a poker table and playing for as long as there is a weak player in the game. And as soon as that player no longer thinks the game is profitable, gets up from the table. This is a lot more common in online poker because the skill level is going to be on average higher than in live poker. And you can obviously also get up from the table a lot faster than in live poker. It doesn't seem as ridiculous. Pretty commonly in online poker, there's going to be 5 players who are regulars and often winning players, and it's going to be one weaker player who basically loses a lot of money on that particular high stakes table, and everyone else tries to win money from the player. But when that weakest player is out of the game, then you have all these 5 regulars, and then the bottom 3 who are not going to be able to make any money in that game because there's a shit ton of rake in that game. They're going to be idiots if they continue playing in that 5 max lineup without really anyone losing the money. Because if you play, let's say, 25-50 pot limit Omaha, and you are the 3rd, 5th, 4th, or 5th best player on that table, and there's not really anyone losing, you're losing money so quickly in a couple of orbits, and you're basically giving away all the winnings that you have won from, a potential weaker player before that. And it's quite natural, if you ask me, that these players will not be willing to continue to play in that game. In live poker, bum hunting is also a problem, but much less so. Because in live poker, there's a lot of people who are losing money at the games, and there's less regular poker players that are trying to make money from the game. Because in the end, that's what bum hunting is all about, and that's where the problem lies, that there's actually too many people that are trying to make money from the game compared to the people that are willingly losing money in the game. That's less the case in live poker, but over the last 10 years it has become an increasing problem because there's more people who are striving to make money from the game in live poker also. And the same scene happens when the casino doesn't break the game at 4 a.m. If the game, for example, runs through in Vegas, then what will happen at 4, 5, 6 a.m. is eventually the weakest players will run out of money, and then everyone else looks at each other, and then the weakest players, or just some people who think that they are tired and they don't want to play anymore without that big losing player in the game, they will just get up. And the problem is that basically the truth gets shoved into the losing player's face right away, and basically the losing player is getting to know that all these players were just there for that player and they're just trying to win that money, which is kind of an unpleasant way of seeing it. But on the other hand, I don't even think that having the truth being displayed at some point is actually that bad. It's actually less dishonest than everyone trying to be pretending to be friends with that losing players. I think that's a lot more disgusting than people actually saying that they are trying to win the money. And I think a lot of players, also the losing players, know about it, at least at some point, and they're still willing to try and win at the game of poker, and they just know that they are in the end going to end up losing some of their money. If we want to understand bum hunting from a macro level perspective, then we want to notice on where the losing player money goes in poker. And traditionally, that would go to the poker sites, and then secondly to poker players. But I'm no longer sure that that's actually the case. Yes, poker sites, they still make the most money. They make even more money or capture more of the losing players' money than they did 10, 15 years ago. Because now, with more rake is better, they just found reasons to just maximize their profits and not give a shit about the players anymore. They still appear to do so with certain promotions, etc. And, just social media and basically portraying the successes of the everyday player. But in reality, they're trying to maximize their earnings and just capture most of the losing players' money. And The second one, I'm not that sure about anymore whether the poker players actually, the winning poker players that make the best decisions at the tables or run the hottest in tournaments. I don't think that these guys make the second most money anymore. Debatably, affiliates and sponsored pros and basically advertisers in general, I think they have definitely replaced poker players, or that's my argument, that they have replaced poker players in the earning curve. If you think about how many people are, streaming and sponsored these days, there's still plenty of them, and especially the bigger ones, somebody like Negrano, he's definitely earning 7 figures. Yes, there's obviously going to be poker players who earn 7 figures as well, but there's a lot of companies within poker that are partnering up with poker sites that they can somehow capture some of the losing players' money. And one of them is obviously also a streaming platform like Twitch, who make a lot of the share now through every game that's getting streamed on Twitch. Again, I cannot really prove this, but let's say we also add in the player apps such as PPP Poker and Poker Bros, then I'm most definitely sure that now the players are outranked by affiliates. The affiliates in PPP Poker and Poker Bros, they're called agents, but they're basically none other than affiliates trying to pull poker players into their home games so that they can get a cut from the rake. That's what it's all about. And the poker owners from these clubs, they're basically their own poker site that is operating basically legally on the internet, and that they try to rake you for a lot of money and just make a fortune through that. And if you factor in all these apps, which a lot of the action is unfortunately not on the major poker sites, because a lot of the countries, they don't have access to the normal poker sites because they're banned from online poker, which is really sad. And this is something back when Switzerland banned online poker, I was bringing that up again and again, that the market, the black market, will capture the action from players if they are not going to allow poker sites to operate in their country anymore. Having that all in mind, let's return to bum hunting. Bum hunting, and you can quote me on this, is the ideal scapegoat for the more rake is better narrative. Just think about it. More rake is better is obviously, or has been, very unpopular among the poker industry, but the more poker sites will convince you that some of the winning poker players are your problem, it distracts you from the fact that the poker sites are taking all your money through a rake. It's the ideal way. Just distract with a scapegoat. And bum hunting is just such an easy way to villainize, that's the right word, some poker player that's worked probably his ass off. If we're talking high stakes, even though he might be a little bit of bum hunter, that is actually your villain. That is the reason why you don't have the money in poker anymore. And it's fairly easy. If you also look at the Twitch landscape, it's very important that winners or big winners in poker, that they are relatable to the public, to the viewership. When certain guys like the Greenwoods win a big money sum in poker, then the narrative seems to be like, yeah, these are boring online players, they don't have a personality. But the Greenwoods have worked their asses off to get to where they are in poker. I think we should at least credit them a lot more for what they have accomplished. And on the other side, you have a lot of recreational players who, of course, in the masses, or some of them, will end up banking a large tournament. And of course, that's going to be relatable. And that's what people want to celebrate. And I think that's just not a fair way to deal with what's happening in poker. And it's basically just playing into that bullshit narrative of poker sites, trying to villainize some online players and trying to make you believe that they're your problem. So some of the things that I wish would happen for poker is 2 things. One thing is that people would pay more attention to what poker sites are actually doing. Their actions matter. How much rake do they take? How much rake back do they give? How fair are they towards players? Are they going to allow winning players to win at the sites, or are they just going to get rid of them at some point when they see that the winning players are taking a big share of the poker sites' earnings, which some sites unfortunately are doing right now? And secondly, what I wish for poker to happen is for people to envy other people less. Yes, I'm totally guilty of that in the past and probably still guilty of it today in some way, but I've tried to mitigate that a lot in the past few years because that doesn't really lead anywhere. If you want poker to stay like poker, you want other people to win at the game because it means you can win at the game too if you make great decisions, even if it means that you're lucky in a tournament. But if you just don't want anyone else to win, or basically only people that you like, and there's maybe a lot of people that you don't like in poker, then that means that most of the money gets captured by poker sites and people shilling that stuff. And I mean, is that what you want? Let me know in the comment section below. Is that really what you want in the end? Because I don't think that's the case. I don't think you playing poker, you want that for poker. I think you want to really try and win at the game, even if you're a losing player. Just play a certain tournament and try to win at it. And I'm not saying it's not possible anymore. In a tournament, it's always possible because they take 10% or 5% rake, but it's become a lot tougher. And part of the reason is that there's more rake and no rake back on some sides, that there's just other people taking a huge chunk of the market share, and that used to be the case more so for the poker players than other partners with the poker sites, right? Earlier, when the Scheinbergs used to be in PokerStars, then it would be like almost working together, players and the sites, and it used to be something that still worked. And poker players and poker sites, they could coexist, and it doesn't seem that possible anymore. It seems that poker sites and a lot of the narrative just wants losing players and just wants to make them all the money and keep them for themselves, instead of having poker remain poker and people winning at the game. Again, let me know in the comments what you believe and what you think about this whole matter. And if you enjoyed this video and you think this is valuable, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps me and this channel out. I want to thank you for that, and I'm going to see you for the next video.